Oh my gosh, take well. Hi guys, how are you doing? I'm very obviously feeling like utter shit today, so I apologize in advance. Um, Hi John, hi Ozzy, hi JJ, hi Glacian, hi everybody on TikTok, hi everybody on YouTube. Hi Diane, oh my gosh, good to see you. Okay, I might be a little slower today than normal, so I apologize in advance. But I have to mention it because I'm just so very, very incredibly just tired today, and sound seems distant, very quiet. Weird. I don't know why. So apparently there is some problem with sound. Okay, with sound on TikTok. So give me a sec. I'll reload. Oh my gosh, it's so weird. Why is it always either TikTok is glitching or YouTube is glitching? Something is glitching, and I don't know why. Oh, okay, I know what happened. I know what happened. It's because my headphones connected to my phone, and that's why it happened like that. Russia found out again. I know, right? Russia loves finding out, always. For some reason, they absolutely do not learn in their mistakes. Also, throughout this live, I'll be drinking whatever this is because it's Blue Spirulina Super Aid, Superfood Hydration Living Beverage. It tastes horrendous, but I'm hoping that it has some healing powers. Yum. Hi, Glacian. So you guys, I realized that my headphones were connected, and that's why you had such a hard time hearing me. Hi, hi, Michael. Hi, Angel. Hi, Cody. Hi, Prexis. Hi, Notabotter. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Senethus. And Olena, sorry for questioning. Would you mind giving me about 5 English lessons in New York for correcting only one problem? So I'm not an English teacher. I don't know how to correct anyone's problems, to be honest. And also, I'm going to Ukraine in 3 days. So I won't be in New York, but I would suggest, like, I actually, so I'm going to address this because I get this quite often. For those of you who might be new here, I'm Ukrainian, born and raised. I did not grow up in America. I wasn't like born in Ukraine and then raised here, and my parents moved here. Like, my parents live in Ukraine. I lived in Ukraine until I was 16 or 17, and then I moved to New York. Thank you, Vasilka. And I don't. The reason why I speak the way I do is because I learned English from a native English speaker when I was 4 years old in Ukraine. An atheist. Like, what? In Ukraine. Sorry, someone's like Jewish or Christian. First of all, none of your business. Second of all, atheist. So I get this question a lot where Ukrainians ask me how to help them correct their English pronunciation, and I don't know how to do that. I'm not a teacher. I'm not an educator. I don't teach people pronunciation. I would have literally zero idea on how to correct someone's pronunciation or issues or grammar issues or things like that, because it's simply like, I'm not a teacher, and I don't really do that. So I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I don't do English lessons. I would never agree to English lessons, because that's just not to like giving someone English lessons, because that's just not what I do. Hi Gap, and hi Tara. Hi everybody on TikTok. Hi everybody everywhere. We're gonna jump into news about Ukraine in like 5 minutes. I'm sorry I sound super nasal. I'm quite sick, and I'm annoyed that I'm sick because my flight is in 2 or 3 days now, on the 29th, and I'm just, at home sick. But I've managed to. Hi, Veronica. I've managed to like figure out quite a few things for when I'm back in Ukraine. Hi, Ia. Hi, Dawn. Um, I've managed to figure out quite a few things for when I'm in Ukraine. I've been kind of like, it's been a very productive couple of days, although like very, very a lot to do, a lot to figure out, and I'm just kind of, and a lot of it is just kind of managerial things. Oh, thank you, Tara. Not managerial, but sort of like I'm forgetting words today. But a lot of it is just sort of like things. They're kind of like just little, tiny little like annoying things. My mom is picking me up from Poland, so she's kind of getting ready. I'm trying to get my suitcases packed. Hi, Christina. I'm fine. I'm just sick, but thanks for asking. So yeah, so it's just like your little actress has her medicine. Yeah, she got prescribed like anti-anxiety medicine for the flight. So I don't know I don't know how that's gonna work, but hopefully it's gonna work okay. And Cindy is gonna hopefully be okay. Okay on the flight. Is it a more than a day's trip for my mom? Um, no, so it's a couple of hours, like 4 hours to get to Warsaw, I think. Well, depending on how the border works. And then she's gonna stay in Warsaw overnight, and then I'm gonna fly in the morning on the 30th if everything goes well, and then she's just gonna pick me up and we're gonna go straight back to Ukraine, with an exception of stopping at IKEA in Poland, because IKEA is real cheap, and we don't have IKEA in Ukraine right now because of the war, and so they haven't really come back yet, and so I'm just gonna get a bunch of like towels and stuff like that. Thank you, Tara, and JJ. Welcome to the Spy Layer. Thank you for becoming a channel member. Thanks. So, depending on the big trucks, I'm surprised you're not taking a train across the border. No, it really doesn't. So passenger cars and civilian vehicles have nothing to do with the Polish border blockade. Thank you, Grandma. There is really not an issue with that. It's just more of like how many people are traveling through the border that day and how big the line is and stuff like that. But yeah, so Americans actually have no idea what it's like, because so when Rob first got to the border, he was like, "Wow, I cannot believe you guys have to do this." But it's basically just like this big lineup of cars. It's kind of like if you've driven through the southern border. I haven't, but I imagine it's a similar situation where there's like this border patrol checkpoint kind of. It's like this big sort of depot, I want to say, and there are lots of cars and they're all in line and stuff like that, and it's not fun, but it is what it is, and I would much rather be with my mom in a car and like listen to music and talk to her than like take a train and have to do all of that. Hi, Kramatorsk. I've never been to IKEA. What, Lauren? Really? IKEA is such a staple. I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, I don't particularly love IKEA furniture. I think it like breaks really easily, and it's not really that great of furniture. But it's like very good for little things and like cheap bedding and stuff like that. Did you celebrate Christmas yesterday or will on the 7th of January? No, I celebrated Christmas yesterday, and I will not be celebrating it on the 7th of January ever again in my life. I mean, I've been celebrating Christmas on the 24th and 25th for the past 12 years that I've been living in the US. But my parents have celebrated it on the 7th because that's what it was like in Ukraine. But for me, it was purely ceremonial because like I would just call them and like say Merry Christmas. But my Christmas has been on the 24th, 25th for like the past 12 years. So for me, it's really not a change. I'm like happy that I don't have that. This is now standardized basically. Are we live on TikTok? Wondering if the bot's working. The bot is working, but I'm live on my main channel because I got my access back. Paul Gray, hello from Adelaide or Adelaide. Adelaide? Adelaide? How does one pronounce Adelaide, Australia? South Australia, hello. I mean, like, I got Brisbane covered, I got Sydney covered, I got Melbourne covered, and Adelaide. Is it Adelaide? How does one say Adelaide, Australia? Adelaide, 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 help. Hi, fella. Adelaide. Okay, cool. All right. Well, look at that. I got one thing right. That's cool. So yeah, I mean, listen, I am just, it's a bit of a stressful time for like little things and just like planning everything and trying to put things together and figure things out. And uh, my my grandma is so funny. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. So I have two grandmas. One is my mom's mom and one is my dad's mom. And since my parents are divorced, these are two separate families. And my mom's mom is kind of like this boss iron lady woman who's always had her own business, and she's like we're closer. And then I have my dad's mom, who's like this little angel, and she's been finding, like, it's for the past month she's been getting ready for my return by constantly like calling my dad and asking him what to cook for me when I'm here, when I'm in Ukraine. And it's so funny because every day that I'm like doing anything midday, my grandma's gonna call me and be like, "Hey, I made some cutlets. Do you want to come over?" And I think I just made her entire entire week by calling her yesterday and saying that I want this very specific dish for New Year's because I haven't had it. Like, so there's kutia, which is normally for Christmas. It's like this sweet, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a honey poppy seed type of mixture thing. It's kind of like it's weird. Thank you. Oh, hi, Blue Ariels. So actually, I want to do aerial silk in Lviv because there is a very good studio, and I want to do it. I did it for some time. I did it for some time in the past, but then stopped. Pierogis. So pierogi is already plural. So it's a pet peeve for all Polish people when English speakers say pierogis, because pierogi is plural. So so when you say pierogi, you already say plural. But so I know I don't. I've had baraniki, but so kutia is this dish, and it's kutia is different everywhere, basically, and everybody makes it different. Some kutia is like drier, some is more liquidy, some is denser, some is, I don't even know. But I only like my grandma's kutia. Like, I've had other people's kutia. I've had kutia at restaurants. I hate it. I don't like it. I just like my grandma's kutia. And so I was like, I just want that. And she's so excited. She's like, oh my God, I made so much kutia for Christmas. I'm going to put it in the fridge. I'm going to store it for you. You're going to have all the kutia in the world. I'm just like, okay. And my mom's mom, basically, because I've gotten a couple of like bulky items that I needed. So dog beds and like a duvet and like, some pillows and stuff like that. And so my aunt Anastasia has been kind of picking up packages for me. And then she went and saw the packages with the beds and all of this stuff. And she's like dropped it off at my grandma's. And then my mom got me a vacuum cleaner. And so my mom's mom now is was like dropped off the like all of this stuff at her house, and she's like, hi, so when are you coming to get all of that? And I'm like, oh, so not when am I coming, it's when am I coming to get all of that. Cool. John Ivan Micken, my heart bleeds tears of sadness for Ukraine, wish the war was over yesterday, Slava Ukraini, from the USA. Hello, I am Slava, and yeah, I wish the war was over yesterday too, but unfortunately the war is not going to be over until we manage to push Russia out of our country for good. And honestly, like, I know that Americans have a really hard time hearing it, but I don't think that the war is truly going to be over until Russia falls apart, until we force it in complete isolation, because Russia needs to cease to exist as a country that it is today, and it needs to fall apart, and all the little republics need to form their own countries, and all the minorities need to have their own governance and their own states. And as long as Russia is going to be the same large, maniacal, imperialistic country that it's been since the Russian Empire and never actually collapsed, just changed the name 2 times, which, by the way, I'm a huge I'm a huge advocate for this. I don't believe that the Russian Empire ever collapsed because it didn't. The Russian Empire lost some territory and renamed itself into the Soviet Union. And then the Soviet Union lost some territory and renamed itself into the Russian Federation. But it is really still the same old Russian Empire with the same Tsar, with the same, people all hail to the Tsar and stuff like that. And I really, truly uh, urge you to understand that Russia is never going to change until it completely falls apart and reconstruct itself. And I honestly feel like the treatment of Russia should be that of the treatment of North Korea. And we should not be like looking at how to, at how to renew our, I don't know, communication with Russia and our relationship with Russia. We should be looking at how to isolate Russia so that it collapses on itself and is forced to change. Hi Sakai, good to see you. Hi. Would you recommend breaking up Russia? I mean, here's the thing. I don't necessarily care, what happens to Russia and within Russia because it's not my problem and it shouldn't be Ukrainians' problem and it shouldn't be Ukrainian task to figure out, right? Our task is to push them the heck away from us. But I would say that, I wouldn't say breaking it apart. I would say that we, the Western world, should completely isolate it from ourselves. And we should let it go and let it live its own existence. And if we isolate it and if we treat it the same way as North Korea, it's going to end up collapsing on itself because it's not going to be able to sustain all that territory without, the same sort of godly treatment that it's been given all these years. Привет. I tried making uzvar for Christmas, turned out good the first time. Had trouble when I tried to make a larger amount. So when I think you need a lot of dried fruit for uzvar. It's gonna be it's the more water basically you have and the less fruit you have, the less kind of potent it's going to be. And I think that uzvar in small batches is better uzvar than it is in larger batches. Hi Grant. Also, you guys, I do want to say, so since Gord did comment on it, I do want to say that him and his kid donated yesterday in some total $300 through PayPal, and I saw that after the stream, which is why I didn't announce it. And then I was confused because I was like, wait, same last name, two different people, so confused. But we are today at $2,394.35. So basically almost one drone. And for those of you who don't know, because I haven't been live for a while on this account, on TikTok, because it's been banned, we are running a fundraiser for 3rd Separate Assault Brigade for 6 DJI Mavic 3 3 Pro drones. They're reconnaissance drones, and we almost raised money for one. We are about $106 short of one drone. And so what I figured I would do in order to kind of divide and conquer is, because 6 drones is a $15,000 goal, but every $5,000 raised, I'm going to send it to the brigade so we can have smaller goals within the goal. So we are now $106 short from one drone, which is phenomenal. And it's, a little late for Christmas, but hey, we did it. It was going very slow for a while there, and I think it's going to pick up once Christmas season is over, and you're not so stressed with Christmas and presents and stuff like that. So, gentle reminder, if you're on TikTok and you would like to donate to our fundraiser for, oh my gosh, thank you. If you would like to donate to our fundraiser for the Mavic drones, you can do so on TikTok by going to my profile and visiting my link in bio. Let me show you. and visiting my link in bio. And if you go here, basically on TikTok, you can press on beacons.ai and it's going to bring you to this thing. And here you can find the thing for the fundraiser for drones. Then you click on it and it gives you PayPal, Revolut, Venmo, Monobank, literally every option to donate, and gives you all the information about the fundraiser. And then if you're on YouTube, thank you, John. And then if you are on YouTube, and then Grumpy just put out the fundraiser link and you can visit it. I pinned it at the top of the chat so you can visit it from there. And thank you so much, John. Hi from Dnipro. Where does this American pronunciation come from? Та не знаю. Прокинулася, так сталося. Where does this... Sorry, I like, the people who have followed me from day one, I always get these comments, right, where like Ukrainian people are confused that I'm Ukrainian, not American, and American people are confused that I'm Ukrainian and not American. And I am different, John. And thank you. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. And I am, I think that it takes Ukrainians a while usually to realize that I'm Ukrainian, not American. But yeah, I'm born and raised Ukrainian, so I always have these like jokes in the comments where people are like, "Wait," and then there are people who think that I'm pretending to be Ukrainian. I'm actually American, and yeah. Thank you, thank you so much. Okay, PayPal works. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's very sweet. See it. Do you ever do cooking as a hobby? No, not really. So I cook really well. I hate cooking. So I only do cooking when absolutely necessary, and I don't really cook for myself. I only cook when there's like other people to eat it, because I eat like small portions of food and I don't like leftovers. I don't like reheating things. So it's kind of like it ends up being a massive waste of money. And people who think you're a CIA spy, oh, I'm 100% CIA spy. So much CIA spy, more CIA spy than everything. Langley, my address, I live Virginia. My handler Boris is on vacation. How that helps the brave on the front lines? What do you mean? To Ukrainian Red Cross. So thank you for doing that. For future, I will recommend though thank you, Victor. I will recommend though to not donate to Hope. Oh, no worries. Thank you. I will say that don't donate to Red Cross, because even if it's a Ukrainian branch, Red Cross is really unreliable and they misappropriate a lot of funds. I would say donate to smaller organizations, and also donate to Ukrainian organizations. For instance, Come Back Alive, United 24, and a lot of things like that. The Red Cross really doesn't help anyone. They actually misappropriate a lot of their funds, and they've also helped Russians and Belarusians kidnap Ukrainian children and people from Ukraine by setting up refugee camps. Instead of like they were very useless in refugee exchanges and stuff like that. So for Ukraine, Come Back Alive is really good. Zyga's Paw is really good. If you go to my link in bio, I linked quite a few organizations there that you can donate to, and you can click on them right there. So also we got a donation, so let me announce it, and then we are gonna dive into the news. We got a donation of $36, which puts us at, one second, I have my calculator here, so $2,430 and 35 cents. $2,430 and 35 cents. What's the best one to donate to? Well, so there are Tylobaki, which are TYLOV YKY, and it's an all Ukrainian initiative, and a lot of Ukrainians are participating in it. There are quite a few really good organizations. I wouldn't say what's the best to donate to. It's just everybody is fundraising for different causes. I would say go with smaller organizations and smaller causes. For instance, like, I'm not saying donate to my cause, for instance. Mission Kharkiv is really good. Yes, that's my friends. My friends run that organization. It's really, really good. It's out of Kharkiv, and they evacuate oncology patients. They help elderly in the pre-frontline cities get medication. They're very, very good. But I'm not saying donate to, like, me particularly, but there are plenty of very good Ukrainians with large followings and a very, very good reputation who do fundraisers quite often. And I would say that individual fundraisers are very good because they go straight to to the people. They go straight to the soldiers. We got another donation of $40, and that puts us as $2,470.35. Let me make sure. Yep. Wait. Thank you. So $2,470.35, and I need to update. Twitter. I don't want terrorists to my border, Finland. Yeah. Well, Suomi, right? I hope that I've seen the posters that Russia. So for those of you who don't know, Finland's real name is Suomi, and Russia is obviously at that border, and they have been putting posters up near the border with Suomi, saying things like Russian borders don't end anywhere. If that's not imperial and expansionist to you, I don't know what is. We also got another donation, so now we are at $2,475.35. Woohoo! Sorry, that's the woohoo was really funny, but woohoo! Please take a moment. Thank you. Better CIA than FSB. Oh, for sure, or GRU, or any of the gross Russian organizations. I don't know why I said it that way, but they have painted Z logos to bus stops near the border. Oh my gosh. Crow TT, hi. Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, listen, my TikTok is not being shown to as many people as it used to be because, TikTok games. But hi, good to see you. I've given to unite with Ukraine and Canada. I hope this one is good, Yulia. So unite with Ukraine is pretty good. I mean, here's the thing: some of the foreign organizations are very decent. It's just my rule of thumb usually is to give to organizations in Ukraine directly, because sometimes it's just much better, and there is more accountability. For instance, I will repost this after the live, but there is an organization of my friend in Lviv. It's called Zigaspa, and he is a computer programmer who quit his job in the beginning of the full-scale invasion to create this nonprofit and run it. And so on their website, you can track every single donation you make, so you know exactly where your money is going. And I think that with a lot of big organizations in like Canada and the US and other places, in Canada and the US and other places, it's very hard to trace your donations, and a lot of the donations are being eaten up by administrative costs. So it just makes sometimes it makes more sense to donate to smaller, because for instance, look, if you buy a bunch of thermals in the United States, right, and you send them to Ukraine, then you're paying both for thermals and you're paying for shipping to Ukraine, right? But if you donate to a Ukrainian organization, you cut out the shipping that's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, right? And also you can order those thermals from Ukrainian factories and it costs less. You're giving jobs to Ukrainians, and basically overall it makes in a lot of cases, it makes more sense to donate to Ukrainian organizations because a lot of this stuff can be bought in Ukraine. And a lot of the times, like, we do need things from the United States, like, that are not available in Ukraine or in Poland or in places like that. But in a lot of cases, I see like large organizations like shipping, I don't know, thermals and things like that to Ukraine, and it ends up costing like ridiculous amounts of money. And it could have just been, you could have bought like 3 times as many thermals in Ukraine and not had to ship them. So yeah. Also, we just got a $60 donation combined, and then let me check, and then one second, a $59 donation. So altogether, that is $2,594.35 for DJI Mavic 3 Pro drones. So we are $94 over one drone, and we are halfway to 2 drones, which is so freaking cool. You guys are so cool, and you're so generous, and you're so kind, and you're so sweet, and you always help us out so much, and you have our back, and I am so very, 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 very grateful. Karen H. Yulia, I have 2 questions, one related to this, one something alarming I heard that you may have already covered. Shoot, I will answer them to the best of my ability. Do you like Razum? Razum is good. Razum is a very reputable organization. I think they're good. They used to send a lot of like IFACs to Ukraine and stuff like that, and I think they were doing a decent job. It's really nothing against like foreign organizations. It's just that also Ukrainians on the ground in Ukraine usually have a much better idea of what's needed in Ukraine on the ground, and also can much easier procure it for less money. If that makes sense. I don't know if it does, but I hope it does. First question, Send Javelin is Canadian. Send Javelin in Canada, if you know about them, and NAFO. So what do you mean? Well, I mean, so I don't know. I don't know if that's a question. So, I mean, yes, I know what Send Javelin is, and I know what NAFO is, but what specific question do you have about it? How do you feel about them? I mean, so Saint Javelin has. I have friends who work for Saint Javelin in Ukraine. In fact, my friend Yulia Tymoshenko, not the former prime minister, my friend who just happens to unfortunately have the same name, and I wish she was the famous Yulia Tymoshenko, not the former prime minister, because my friend Yulia Tymoshenko is actually a brilliant activist for Ukraine. But so she works for Saint Javelin. On their like social media PR team, and she's traveled to Canada with them, and she's been doing a lot of very great stuff with them. I mean, they post a lot of awareness about Ukraine. They donate a lot to Ukraine. I think they're legit. I think they created a big brand, and a lot of people buy them, and so therefore a lot of money goes to Ukraine. Does all the money go to Ukraine? No. Is this a business that made someone very, very rich? Yes. Between like buying something from Saint Javelin and buying something from, now they produce their stuff in Ukrainian factories though. Thank you so much. Thank you, Blue Ariel. Is like, if I were to pick between buying something from Saint Javelin and buying something from like a Ukrainian company, I would buy from a Ukrainian company. I mean, if I were to pick between buying something from Saint Javelin and literally like donating to an organization, I would rather donate to an organization. But also, when you buy something from Saint Javelin, you get something in return. But also, you should know that most Ukrainian companies that are in Ukraine, not just Saint Javelin, all donate 20% or more to the armed forces from every item you buy anyway. So I think that it's a very good PR move, because Saint Javelin posed itself as this like unique concept where you buy something and and like a lot of profit is being donated to the armed forces. But it's a company, it needs to pay salaries to employees, it needs to survive, right? But in reality, they're doing the same thing as every Ukrainian company. It's just that they have they blew up on the internet, and they are donating a lot of money to Ukraine simply because of how big they are and how many people buy their stuff. But they don't donate everything. Obviously, they keep a large percent of the profit. Any specific instructions for donating via PayPal? Nope. You can. I mean, you can say. You can say for drones for charity or something like that. Um, and then NAFO. I think that NAFO. NAFO is, well, it's tricky because I think it was created with a very, very, very good intention, but it's basically a self organized bot farm, right? And a lot of people who participate in NAFO are really good, and they're just, they donate to the Georgian Legion, they get the funny avatar, and they're there to spread real news about Ukraine and fight Russian disinformation. But just like every bot farm, and because there's so many people now, a lot of them don't have the right intentions. A lot of them are unhinged. I see a lot of NAFO members that are like attacking Ukrainians, and they've formed these like little clicky clicks and stuff like that. So it depends. So it really depends. I mean, the 69 sniffing brigade, I guess. I mean, the NAFO trucks and drones and medical drives, and I mean, yeah, I think I think you're talking about the 69th sniffing brigade or something like that. Yeah, I mean, they've been pretty transparent. I think that they've donated legit, like, legit things to the Ukrainian armed forces. I'm not very familiar with them. I know some people who donated to them. I know some people who know them, and I'm not qualified to give you an answer on them. I think they've legitimately done their job. But I don't really know much about them to really like give you a coherent opinion, and I don't want to I don't want to discuss someone or like an organization I know very little about. But again, I would say for me personally, there are also tons of organizations that do the same that are Ukrainian, and um, uh, I mean, I'm always, me personally, I will always donate to a Ukrainian based organization created by Ukrainians organization over any organization that is foreign, simply because like I just know that it's much easier to for Ukrainians on the ground to understand what's necessary and what isn't on the ground, and things like that. And also just, I mean, but at the same time, like I again, like if they're legit, and and if they have transparency and they show you, what the money is going towards, and like they have credibility and they have been transparent, then I don't see why not. You know, it's just more of like due diligence. Like I will say, do not donate to Red Cross, Maria Report, like that place. And I know there's so much like Twitter stuff going around, and I know that a lot of people are on Twitter and read Twitter stuff. Stay the fuck away from Maria Report, like so far away. And I'm not talking about any Twitter drama between them and like other people. That is not what I'm talking about. But no one in Ukraine has any respect for them. There are many brigades in Ukraine that have received defective equipment from them. They constantly um, they constantly push to buy Dnipro tourniquets that have been proven to break all the time. They constantly they have this like cult. They talk against Ukrainians. They spread disinformation. They never have Ukrainians. They never have Ukrainians on their space. They constantly attack Ukrainians. There's so much like scheming and plotting and money fraud, and all of these questionable characters like James Vasquez and all of that came out of Maria. So yeah, there is that. Please stay away from that. Okay, what was your second question? Sorry. uh, Okay, the other question, the alarming report is showing up on Twitter claiming that Russia hit another evac train in Kherson. Have you heard anything about that? I haven't had time to investigate. So there was a huge hit on Kherson train station. There are about 150 plus people that have been injured, and it was a really large hit. Um, it's not an evac train. In Kherson, trains are not really evacuation trains. It's Kherson is liberated, so it's not an evacuation train. It's just your regular, scheduled train. And yeah, they hit a train station, and there are a lot of injuries and some fatalities. You can we're gonna get there. So I think it's time that we jump into the news. If anybody else feels like donating for the drones through the duration of this stream, I will be announcing every single donation. Oh, we just got another one, so let me include that. So now we are at $2,607.39 for the 6 DJI Mavic drones, and we are officially 1 drone in. We have 5 to go. So I will be obviously updating you on the amount if I see any other donations through the duration of the stream. And you guys are wonderful, just know that. and let's get into the news, and then if any other donations happen, I will be announcing them as per usual and doing a tally. The Ministry of Finance has confirmed that Ukraine has received 1.34 billion as part of the World Bank's Peace in Ukraine project. Привет. The financing comprises a 1.086 billion loan from the World Bank, facilitated through the trust fund Advance Ukraine, supported by the guarantee of the Japanese government. The 6th additional financing for Peace in Ukraine project includes grants from various sources. $190 million from Norway through the Target Fund for Support, Restoration, Reconstruction, and Reform of Ukraine. $50 million from the United States government, $20 million from the Swiss government. The Ministry of Finance stated that these funds will be utilized to partially cover expenses within Ukraine's state budget, excluding the sphere of security and defense. Specifically, the allocation will support pension payments and remunerations for employees of the State Emergency Service. What was the train station hit with? So we'll get there. NAFO isn't really all that organized, but there are some really good people in it, and the goal itself, I think, is noble. But since pretty much anyone can be a brain-dead cartoon dog, it definitely varies. Well, so that's what I'm trying to say. NAFO is a self-organized bot farm, and there are a lot of really good individuals in NAFO, but as an organization, I think it creates actually more problems than it solves them, because there are just a lot of random people who are joining, and then there are people that don't necessarily know what they're talking about, trying to just shitpost and create memes, and it's just like, it's a bot farm. And just like any bot farm, whether it has good intentions or bad intentions, it's always going to have issues. So yeah, so it's just like, there are a lot of things that come out of there that are just like not beneficial or helpful to anyone, just because of the sheer amount of people and like lack of sort of direction, right? But in general, I don't necessarily have like anything negative to say. Oh, hi, Royce. Thank you. At night, the Air Force of Ukraine destroyed a large amphibious ship of the Black Sea Fleet of the Russian Federation, Novocherkassk, in the Feodosia region. And it was a huge bada boom. Let me do this so you can see how big of a bada boom that was. A lot of speculation is that the attack on Kherson was the retaliation for the ship in Feodosia. General information regarding Novocherkassk large amphibious landing ship. Novocherkassk BDK-46, Project 775 Rapucha class large amphibious landing ship, which belongs to the Black Sea Fleet of the Russian Navy. It is designed for landing amphibious assault on an unequipped coast and for the transfer of troops and cargo by sea. It can transport various types of armored vehicles, including tanks. Well, not can, was able to. Initially, it had yard number 108. On May 1st, 1989, it was assigned number 142. The ship was built at a shipyard in Gdansk, Poland. It was launched on April 17, 1987. Till 1990, it repeatedly participated in various trainings. From 1990 to 2007, it was undergoing preservation. At the end of 2008, it made its first sea deployments, returning to the Black Sea Fleet. From October 1st, 2012 to January 15th, 2013, it performed tasks in the Mediterranean Sea. In 2014, it continued to be in the Mediterranean, periodically returning to the temporarily occupied Ukrainian Sevastopol. At the end of 2014, it was recognized as the best ship of the second rank of the Black Sea Fleet. In 2015, it took part in the parade on the Day of the Russian Navy in the temporarily occupied Ukrainian Sevastopol. As of December 25, 2023, it remained in service. Technical characteristics. Its speed was 18 knots, range 6,000 miles at 12 knots, crew was 87 people, displacement 4,080 tons, length was 112.5 meters, beam 15 meters, draft 3.7 meters. Huge ship. Power plant, 2 diesels, 2 screws power, 19,200 mAh. Armament, 2 AK-725 57mm artillery mounts, launchers of the Strela 2 portable anti-aircraft missile system. It could carry up to 500 tons of cargo and 225 embarked soldiers. What a nice ship it was. Aww. Sad. Aww. Not sad. But yeah, it's a huge ship, and Russians are mighty pissed. And I mean, listen, I understand that they're mighty pissed, but at the same time, like, maybe you shouldn't have invaded Ukraine and brought the ship here. So, was the crew on it? Likely not all of it, but there were definitely some crew members on it. Russian occupiers shelled the village of Podole in the Kharkiv region. A shell hit a house and its resident was killed. We don't have the full information about the crew and the losses on the ship, but it's likely had some crew members on it. I doubt it would have all of them. So Russia then reported that the ship suffered some minor damage, and then this photo appeared online showing you the ship and its minor damage. I'm going to show it here first. You know, the minorly damaged ship. Come on. Oh my gosh. The minorly damaged ship. You know. I know it's out of TikTok view. I was going to show it on YouTube first, because it doesn't really focus that well. Tiny little minor little damage. Okay, so this is still about the ship.
There once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was a Bully of Tea. The winds blew up her bow, up down below my bully boys blow. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. She'd not been 2 weeks from shore when down on her a right whale bore. The captain called all hands and swore he'd take that whale in tow. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum.
I love this music. Okay, so this is so funny because I love the commentary about this. I love fireworks. And then my favorite comment here is from Travis on YouTube that says, that will buff out. Yeah, you could just, So here is, so let me show you another image that really shows you the damage. Okay, so let me show it to you on YouTube first. Oh my gosh, please focus. Okay, so top image is the ship before, bottom image is the ship after. I think we can all agree it is it'll just buff out. Really not much going on there. So here you go. Top image is the ship before, bottom image is the ship after. It's a minor little accident, Totally fine. I think it's going to be okay. I think they can just maybe it's a phoenix and it can literally rise from ashes. You don't know. I don't know. No one knows. To be fair, anything could happen. Just a smoking accident. So yes, Russia has lost 23 ships to Ukraine, a country with no navy. Hi, Doug. And hi, Kat. Good to see you. Yeah. Anyways, the first group of Ukrainian pilots has completed basic training program in the UK and started training in F-16 fighter jets in Denmark, the UK government. The training began in August and involved piloting and learning aviation terminology in English. Привет. 6 Ukrainian pilots have completed their training, and 10 more are staying in the UK for basic flight training, aviation medicine studying, and centrifuge training. So it's actually interesting because we were talking with Wikipedia about this, right? And he was saying that a lot of Ukrainians operate certain systems that were meant for like Arabic speaking countries, but they didn't leave Ukraine because the full scale invasion started. So they were repurposed for Ukraine. And it's like, they don't speak Arabic, but the systems are in Arabic, right? But they just memorize what is what, and they don't need to speak the language to actually do that. So he was saying that this entire like thing about learning English for F-16s is, hi Michael, is a bit of it's an unnecessary thing because they can just memorize the terminology and memorize the buttons, and the people that they are going to be flying these jets with are going to be speaking Ukrainian to each other anyway. So there is just really no reason to do that. The EU countries will approve the decision to allocate 50 billion euros for Ukraine despite Hungary's possible veto, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba noted. Kuleba said that the postponement of the decision on 50 billion euro for Ukraine to the beginning of 2024 was not due to Hungary's veto. This is another attempt to give Budapest time to join the allocation of funds. The EU does not want a situation where a decision is constantly made without one country. The decision regarding Ukraine receiving this money will be made. The only question left is whether 27 countries will do it together, all EU members including Hungary, and Hungary was given a month to conduct additional negotiations, or whether the money will be allocated by 26 EU countries without Hungary, the minister stated. The minister added that the current issue is about the internal unity of the bloc. The 26 countries are now making every effort to preserve it. However, if this fails, the money will still be allocated. Well, so the thing about Hungary is that we talk about this every time, right? Hungary does not belong in the EU. Hungary under Viktor Orban and Hungary, the way that it is today, is in a lot of ways no better than Russia. It's just Russia in Europe and with the right to veto and extort other European countries, right, for its own benefit. And it's really sad that we are kind of at the will of Viktor Orban here. Russian forces shelled the village of Mykilske and Tyahenka in the Kherson region. In the first village, a dozen residential buildings were damaged and a 71-year-old man was killed. The second village also had one person killed. Thank you, Michael. So Kherson in general, not just Kherson train station, not just Kherson city, but Kherson as a state yesterday has suffered or like last night, has suffered a lot of Russian shelling, and it's been, it's been difficult in the state. So it's, it's been a very, very, very difficult night in Kherson. So there is that, and we'll get more into it. A non-holiday Christmas tree set up at the Embassy of Ukraine in Portugal. I'll show you the tree in a second. Together with UA Animals, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine set up an installation with a burned Christmas tree in the embassy. It symbolizes Ukrainian Christmas during the war and is a reminder of the environmental crimes that Russia is still committing against people, animals, and entire ecosystem of Ukraine. During the full-scale invasion, Russia has committed more than 2,900 environmental crimes. 30,000 square kilometers of forests have been subjected to shelling, chemical contamination, and fires. Peace, ironically, on TikTok says, non-EU member, once EU member out, laughing, crying face, unbelievable eye roll. So here is newsflash, literally everyone in the EU cannot stand Hungary and wants it out. Ask France, ask Germany, ask other people, except I'm being nice about it. And the way that other European countries refer to Hungary is very not nice, incredibly condescending. And in fact, most European nations think of Hungary as a rag. So, funny you would mention that, because I am actually talking about it in a very nice manner. Anyways, Hungary under Viktor Orban is a fascist state. This is the non-Christmas Christmas tree. Oh, not Kuleba. Jesus, how did that happen? This is a non-Christmas Christmas tree, and this is what it looks like with broken ornaments. And the tree itself is half burned, in order to represent accurately what it's like in Ukraine. And also UA Animals is, so since you guys asked organizations to donate to, UA Animals is a really good organization. I'm actually jumping in a project with them in January when I'm back to Ukraine. And they rescue animals all over Ukraine. They were very involved in the Kakhovka dam aftermath, in saving of animals and stuff like that. And they are a very good organization, and I would highly recommend checking them out. They have a Patreon, and you can sign up for their Patreon for like $5 a month. I think $1 a month, $2 a month, and similar. And you can just donate to them monthly. What's their Patreon? It's UA Animals. So you animals, basically, like you animals. One of the mods can probably write it down in the chat. I wanted to say I donate to 69th. They seem to check out pretty well. Basically raise 16,000 euros to donate 10,000 euros, and you can pick the military unit you want a vehicle to go to. They of course take smaller donations. Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. That's really cool. Yeah, that's why I said, like, I can't really speak on them because I don't really know. So I would much rather people who do know speak on them. Hi, David. Brad, what is your opinion of General Zaluzhny press conference? I think it was very direct about the responsibility of AFU and what other branches have to do to assist AFU. Yeah, I think his press conference was really good. So I haven't really seen the entirety of it. So I think we're going to talk about the press conference in the live tomorrow when I have a little bit of a better idea about it. I've seen bits and pieces, and I've seen like the key points, but the reason why we haven't talked about it in depth, because I want to be able to take the time to watch it and then be able to like tell you more on the stream tomorrow. But we will definitely discuss that. UK Secretary of State for Defense Grant Shapps stated that the destruction of the Russian ship Novocherkassk in Feodosia demonstrates that those who believe there is a stalemate in Ukraine war are wrong. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. They haven't noticed that over the past 4 months, 20% of Russia's Black Sea Fleet has been destroyed, he added. Ammo storage facilities, Russian G-locks, which are railway lines or supply lines, Russian communications, Russian Black Sea Fleet, lots of Russian tanks, lots of Russian equipment, lots of Russian storage facilities, fuel facilities. That's not a stalemate. That's Ukraine making very strategic decisions and destroying important strategic targets. In Mariupol, occupiers set up a Christmas tree near the destroyed drama theater. In front of the Mariupol drama theater, which was destroyed by a bomb, there where about 600 people died, the invaders set up a Christmas tree. A Christmas tree near the ruins of the Mariupol drama theater in the same place where the inscription "Children" was, said Petro Andrushenko. The drama theater, remember that Russians targeted, where they killed upwards of 600 people, estimated is upwards of 600 people? The drama theater that is now covered in this rag to hide the destruction. Oh my gosh. Equestrians from Russia and Belarus will not be allowed to attend the 2024 Olympics in any status. The International Equestrian Federation, FEI. Finally. Russia has more artillery right now. That's not true. Russia is struggling hardcore with artillery, and it's a mistaken statement. Russia might have more artillery at the moment. It does not have more functional artillery. A lot of its artillery came from North Korea, and a lot of these shells are not firing because they're from North Korea and made in the same crappy conditions as Russia, even worse. And a lot of them are dated and literally do not fire. It's kind of like, I can have 10 cars. I can have 10 cars and none of them run. And you can have one car and it runs. Any comments about the MR? It's going wild on Twitter. I know they censored you. Oh, they didn't censor me. I did start this live with, when we were talking about organizations, I did talk about Maria report. So I think I want to clarify. They didn't necessarily censor me, right? So they, so people don't get the wrong idea. So I went on as a speaker on Maria report when I just started talking about Ukraine, and I just sort of wanted to, tell more people what I know. And they invited me to talk about Azov, and they would basically not let me say what I wanted to say. Dom, the person who was the co-host, constantly was asking me questions unrelated to Azov. When I would start speaking about Azov, he would interrupt me and ask me questions that are different, or say something along the lines of, let's talk about this. And I just felt incredibly gaslit the entire time. And I'm not the type of person that you can easily shut down. So I would say, no, let me finish my thought, and then we can move on. But basically I was invited to talk about Azov, and I wasn't allowed to really say what I wanted to say about Azov at the time. And I know they absolutely didn't like me because I asked them when my recording is going to go so let me respond to that in a second. Basically I asked them when my recording is going to go on their Spotify, and they were like, oh, it's going to be a couple of weeks, blah, blah, blah. We're a volunteer effort. We don't have enough hands. Then a couple of weeks came by, and I was like, hey, when is that recording going to go up? And they were like, oh, we actually had problems with sound, and so your recording is not going to go up. And then I found the freaking Twitter space recording that's recorded on Twitter, and there were no problems with sound. So you know. Anyways, there I don't remember what I really don't remember anymore because it was like a year and a half ago and I didn't dwell on it. I just like moved on and was like, wow, I really don't want to have to deal with this. Uh and there is that. So I had a really, really wrong feeling about them from the very beginning. Okay. Literally just listened to a Ukrainian update on Christmas who said they're outgunned, that it's apparent to those on the front lines that the Russians are able to fire more artillery. And I just spoke to someone who's on the front line as well, and they said they're not outgunned. So you need to understand that the Ukrainian front line is 2,000 kilometers long, and different units are supplied differently. Yes, Russians do have a lot of ammo. Yes, Russians do have a lot of artillery. Yes, Russians do get supplies from North Korea. A lot of them misfire. A lot of them don't fire properly. It's in some areas Russians have an advantage. In some areas Ukrainians have an advantage. The front line is not one tiny little spot. When you say, I just spoke to someone at the front line and they told me they're outgunned, where on the front line? There are so many different units on the front line. There are so many different frontline directions. There is the southern direction. There is the northern direction. There is the eastern direction. Like there is the southeastern, northeastern. There are so many different directions of the front. There are so many different operational areas. There are so many different settlements that the different units are in charge of. It is not the same. Yes, in some places outgunned. No, in some places not outgunned. Yes, Ukraine has an artillery shortage. Russia has a massive artillery shortage too. It depends on which servicemen you are talking to, which frontline location they're in, which operational area they're operating in. Please stop saying stupid shit like I just talked to someone at the front line and they told me something that you think applies to the entire front line, and the entire front line is 2,500 kilometers. Can we please stop spreading things that we don't understand? And can we please stop talking about things in absolutes when we don't understand what we're talking about? Because that's how misinformation is born, and it's really annoying. And it's really annoying to have to deal with it every day. You can't say an absolute because you spoke to one person at the front or you listened to one commentator who was talking about the front. Because I can tell you that I heard something different based on my friend who is in another area of the front. You need to look at the whole picture and you need to analyze the whole picture. Russians have a huge artillery shortage. So does Ukraine. But depends on which area. Some have advantage and some have disadvantages. Are we clear on that? Sorry, there is just like a person who's trying to argue me using the terminology of like, I just listened to a Ukrainian do a report on whatever social media, and they literally said that there is a shortage at the front. And it's like, well, what front are they talking about? Anyways, not surprised. Recording of guests I brought to that time never went up as well. I brought 2 Ukrainian journalists. Yeah, they don't like Ukrainians. They literally don't put up Ukrainians on re-airport. Couldn't even make a legit excuse for how they mistreated a Ukrainian. They consistently mistreat Ukrainians. They also, the only times they usually let up, I noticed, the only times they let up Ukrainians is if it's Ukrainian women who are young, who are easily manipulated and easily guided and easily directed. And like, they literally thought that that would be me, but unfortunately, I think a lot of people think that because I look like I'm very young and I look like I'm a little girl that doesn't know what she's doing, but then like that is not necessarily the case, and I'm not that easily manipulated, and I'm not like, I don't get like lost and startled in that way. Like I will hold my own. And so when they bring up Ukrainians, they like to bring up people that they look at as prey, in my opinion. And so they, a lot of the times, if they do bring up Ukrainians once in a while, it's usually like younger women who also might not speak English ideally, because then they can steer the conversation the way that they want to, and they can gaslight them, and they can and they can diminish them and do stuff like that. Okay, well, Harashenko and Honcharenko are both like fucking propagandists, and they can go, Harashenko and Honcharenko both are very shady characters, and those I wouldn't consider that, the people that they do bring on there that are Ukrainian are like, you know what? The actual Ukrainians that they bring on that could actually blow up their shindig, they try to bring on easily impressionable Ukrainians that do not have that much experience in public speaking and in pushing back. Gaslighters, let's put it that way. Okay, as Russia took over from the USSR and the United Nations, the 1991 UN Council vote on Kuwait's invasion haunts Moscow. Learn how it can help Kyiv make the Kremlin pay for the environmental damage Ukraine suffered after February 24th invasion.
Russia admitting it will pay billions in environmental damage to Ukraine? Yes, that's legit. Remember this guy? When Iraq invaded Kuwait, Saddam's troops set fire to its oil rigs. The wreckage was colossal. What Russia is doing to Ukraine, though, is more devastating. Today, damage to its environment alone stands at $56 billion. But in 1991, the UN Security Council vote made Iraq pay compensation that included the environmental damage. And you know what? Moscow voted yes for that UN resolution on reparations. The invasion eventually cost Saddam over $52 billion in reparations. Well, as Russia took over from the USSR and the UN, the 1991 UN vote now corners Moscow. Putin will just have to cough up billions in reparations like Saddam.
Karma is a beach, you know, with water and sharkies and like floaties and stuff. I think they're gonna end up. It's really good that Russia has been, you know, using this politics of being incredibly dishonest and doing these things to themselves, because now you can use their own resolutions as a precedent against them. What would that number be in today's money? Oh, trillions probably. The occupiers attacked the Kherson railway station. Except Russia has the veto power, so they'll never be held accountable. So Ukraine is working on that, actually, because Russia illegally took over that seat. The occupiers attacked the Kherson railway station. Oh, and also, this is not going to be about the UN. It's going to be used in The Hague. Russia does not have a veto power in The Hague. The occupiers attacked the Kherson railway station, the evacuation train. The number of victims is being determined, says Zelensky. Due to the Russian shelling in Kherson, both the station building and the evacuation train sustained damage, resulting in the tragic loss of a police officer's life. I don't know why they're calling it the evacuation train. It's just a train. Several station workers were injured and passengers sought refuge, as reported by Ukrzaliznytsia. Railway employees are awaiting stabilization of the situation around the station. Over 100 passengers will be transferred to buses heading to Mykolaiv, continuing their journey via reserve vehicles to their destinations. Heartbreakingly, a police lieutenant from the Kirovohrad region was killed during the shelling. According to Minister of Internal Affairs Igor Klimenko, the lieutenant, part of a combined detachment serving in Kherson, was fatally wounded while aiding in the evacuation. Additionally, 2 more policemen are hospitalized due to shrapnel wounds. Russia announced a record trade turnover of $50 billion with India in 2023. Well, who else is going to be buying Russian stuff? But also, I mean, India is paying cheaper prices. So had it been... So the number sounds awful. And yes, Russia's trade with India increased. But had it not been India and had things stayed the way they were, Russia would have made a lot more money. Russia would have made probably triple that if it didn't have to resort to doing trade just with certain countries in the world, because they are getting preferential prices. Because without them, Russia would not be making any money. So had it not been for sanctions, they would be making 2x, 3 times that. But that's still really, really bad. So one of the most major quotes today that stood out from Zaluzhny at his press conference, about which we're going to talk tomorrow, was my main mistake was that I thought that the number of losses we caused would stop anyone, but that didn't stop Russia. So he was saying that, you know, Russia is losing so much personnel daily. Their losses are just unimaginable. And he would think that after sustaining so many losses, Russia would want to retreat. But Russia doesn't care for its people, and it doesn't care for how many bodies it loses, because at the end of the day, it doesn't treat people as people, it treats people as bodies. So Zaluzhny was just reflecting on that, basically. Yeah, that's all I have for you for today. To sum up, we have managed to raise $2,607.39, unless I missed something, which let me check. Let me see. I think I did. So, for anyone who's wondering, let me repeat this before I go. We are fundraising to buy 6 DJI Mavic 3 Pro drones for a 3rd Separate Assault Brigade. And every 2 drones, we're going to transfer the money to 3rd Separate Assault Brigade. We just raised a little over 1 drone of money. We are at $2,607.39. If you are on TikTok and you would like to donate, please, any amount helps. $1, $2, $5, $6, $7, kronas, liras, gold, silver, whatever it is that you have, Deutsche Marke.
How many?
So if you go to my profile and you go on here, you click on beacons.ai/Yulia, it'll bring you to my my page with all of, oh my gosh, why are you being so, what is going on? 1 second. Normally, when my phone is not glitching, okay, let's start there. When my phone is not glitching, it brings you to the beacons page, and then in the beacons page, you click on this, and it brings you here. And you can find out more about the fundraiser and donate through Monobank, PayPal, Revolut, Venmo, and other ways. So if you would like to donate on YouTube, there is a link pinned right here. And literally any amount helps. On TikTok, Grumpy just posted it for you, and you can also find it through my link in bio. And also, you guys, we do have a Discord, and you can join the Discord in that same link in bio. It's at the very top. All of my social media is there, including Patreon, Discord, and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, Rosalind, thank you. That's a beautiful swan, and also good to see you. And yes, please go over to Discord. We would love to see you there. We do a lot of different, we communicate there. And also it's a great place to be reminded about lives and videos and all that stuff. And nice to see you too. And we will be doing auctions there when I'm back in Ukraine. And yeah, so do let me know. I will update the fundraiser amount on Twitter in like an hour. I just need to get my ducks in a row and get my things in order, and you can see the updated amount all together on Twitter in a little bit. Alrighty, see you soon, guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow at around the same time. Bye. Bye-bye. What does EFT means? F-U-C-K'd. Chris. Okay, bye. Bye. See you tomorrow around the same time, around 9:30 p.m. Oh, and tomorrow is our Patreon call. So for those of you who are members of the YouTube channel, and for those of you who are patrons on Patreon, which the lowest tier is $5, and it helps me a lot to continue bringing you journalism, we are doing a Zoom call tomorrow at 8 p.m. And I today thought it was today. And, I fucked up. Anyways, okay. See you tomorrow at the Zoom call before the stream. Zoom call at 8 and stream at 9:30 Eastern p.m. So, bye. Bye-bye. Wait. Boom. And